I saw plane crashes. There will be plane crashes taking place. Planes are going to crash on the runway itself. And I think it is in this prophecy. Yes, it is in this prophecy that some of the explanation for that will be given given later. But I saw that there will be a lot of plane crashes. Planes will crash on the runway itself. Planes will crash into stationary objects, and they will also crash with other planes, especially in rainy and foggy conditions. Horrible mishaps are going to be made by air traffic controllers to the point that when planes are cleared for takeoff, they will be cleared for takeoff on the same runway at the same time. And the air traffic controllers will not note the proper takeoff order, and it will result in a tragic event. Excuse me, please. The Lord said that we will see fireballs on the runway. So this is literally two planes smashing into each other, nose to nose, one plane smashing into the side, caving in the side, windows falling in, and then boom. We will see fireballs on the runway. We will see fireballs in the sky too, as planes blow up from technical problems or catch fire soon after takeoff, or when they've gained some altitude. They're just going to have some kind of technical mishap, and we're just going to see that entire thing exploding as it's in the ascent, or when it's climbed up and it's leveled off, and then you see it higher up in the sky. And God says that some planes will catch fire and have to come down again, and only some of them will be successful in catching fire, and the pilot may be managing to turn the thing around or quickly bring it down. He says that some of them will unsuccessfully come down because of the fire when they catch fire, and it's going to result in very terrible tragedies that will be all over the news. And so if I can give the sense of what I saw happening, there's going to be something that will start happening, people, and you need to be very careful. And I've already been telling my intercessors this for quite some time. Whatever you do now, you need to check it and double check it. You need to check it and double check it. Because when I say this, it will sound like, oh, it may sound spooky and kooky, but it's not. There is spiritual activity going on that may be done with hands that we can't see, little hands touching things that we can't see, or the mischief of the devil himself. But whatever you do from now on, check it and double check it. Lock your car. Don't walk away. You're going to start experiencing phenomena like this. You'll click it and the car will say tweet, tweet, but it will not lock. You'll have valuables in that car. The car will make the sound that promises you, I've locked the way I always have locked in the past. Something will prevent that thing from locking. And no, it's not for those who always are looking to gainsay what I say, to overturn what the Lord is saying. For those who are always, because their minds are carnal and they are fleshly. And so the things of the spirit, they cannot hold it. It just leaks out of their ears like water. So everything has to have a natural explanation to them. Not so. There's going to be interferences. Because the veil between our world, and I'm going to use the right side, we as humans, we have the right to be here on earth. So the right side is for us. There will be interferences from the other side because the separating veil between the two sides is getting thinner and thinner. You put something on the table, you'll know you put it there. It's not going to be there, and you have no children and you live alone. You lock your car, it's not going to lock, and then you're going to suffer a loss. Your paycheck is going to be in there. Something you just bought is going to be in there, and it's going to go missing. This is what was happening to the air traffic controllers. They looked and they saw numbers and they read and they calculated and they said runway 5 and runway 1 are far enough apart. You guys can literally run parallel at the same time. But something was making them read it wrong. Something was making them read it wrong, and they were literally scheduling runway 1 and runway 5 like this on a collision course instead of running parallel where they could both take off with enough space and not hit each other. They were making terrible, tragic mistakes after 20, 30, 40-year careers. They were not drunk. They were not sleepy. They were not distracted. They were not on their phones. They were locked into their jobs. They looked at the monitors. They read a certain set of numbers, and then they went Delta 99 and Delta 43, and they gave information. And then it was wrong. It was inexplicably wrong. They could not explain how it got the way it got, because now when it came time for the investigation, it was the way it was after it had gone wrong, but it was not that way when these men and these women looked at it in the beginning. And yet, who is going to believe them? The tragedy had happened. The planes will smash. The planes will crash. The planes will literally go into one of the stationary objects that I saw was those stairs. You know, the stairs that they put and we go up, and then they're supposed to take the stairs away and stow them away somewhere. For some unbelievable reason, I saw planes going at top speed, and then suddenly the stairs were there and they just went into the stairs and smashed, and the whole front just caught fire like that. And a lot of accidents also happened in rainy conditions. In rainy conditions is when the mischief was high. And foggy conditions also. Horrible mishaps that God was saying, similar runways and at similar times, and without noting the proper takeoff order. And that's how we'll be seeing fireballs on the runway, fireballs in the sky, huge headlines. Huge headlines. I've been having this feeling for a while that flight, the missing one is going to happen again, the one that goes missing, and you'll hear more about that kind of thing here in this prophecy. And so I was sleeping. That was the first dream, seeing these different clips. And then I had another dream, and the perspective was that a plane had already had some kind of horrible event in the sky, and I was seeing it from the perspective. I didn't see myself, but I was just looking, and the Lord was just basically directing the camera, the lens of the dream, how he wants. And I saw the entire side of a plane had been ripped out. It literally looked like a big hand had torn a whole chunk off the side of this large airliner. And you know, planes are made of some strange material. When they rip off at those high temperatures, there's all these little stringy bits that look like when you rip jeans. There's all these little stringy white bits that are all around the side of the plane. I did not know that they did that, but I saw that in the dream. The entire side had ripped off, and people's seats were sucked out in midair. So please hear this. Not only did a side of the plane fly off, but whoever had made this plane did not bother to bolt the seats good enough. I guess they thought that air pressure was going to help them. The seats ripped out and went off with the side. So after the hole was ripped, and I had seen those flyaway edges of the torn plane body come when the thing came off, when the weakened panel of the plane came off, I couldn't hear any sound. And I think that is a blessing, because right after that thing flew away, just maybe 20 to 30 seconds more, a whole bank of people still strapped to their seats, all their neck bent like this. All their necks were bent severely at one angle, hair blowing, and their whole body bent under severe air pressure. I saw all of them come hurtling out with their mouths in a large, horrified O, all of them. And as soon as they came flying out horizontally, they plummeted through the cloud cover. And I'm very grateful that the eye of the dream, the eye did not follow them down there. I just saw the hole, observed the little stringy bits, and then 20 seconds later, people flew past me, silent screams, and they came out like this and then just plunged down below. And then right after that, I saw the plane, because of the steep loss of air pressure in the cabin, the plane began to shake and shudder like a leaf in a high wind. And then the plane itself began plunging down like an unlucky bird that had been completely stunned by a rock. And then I sank back into sleep, and I had another dream. And in my dream, the Lord was telling me that there will be 2 ships that will sink off the Gulf of Mexico. The Lord did not specify which ships these would be, as in what kind of ships are they going to be? Are they going to be trawling vessels, the kind that you get for shrimp? Are they going to be cruise ships? Are they going to be tankers? But the feeling I had was that they were working ships, official ships, like BP ships or Shell ships, you know, the kind that carry goods, or the kind that carry cargo, or the kinds that carry oil, that kind of ship, working ships. So as he was speaking to me, after telling me that 2 ships are going to sink off of the Gulf of Mexico, I had a brief picture like a child's learning show. So, you know, on children's learning show, they learn letters and they learn shapes and they learn colors and basic words. And what I saw was, I saw the sea, and the sea was bobbing like this, like a simple animation. And then it appeared 1 ship, and the ship was bobbing on the sea, and then 2 ships. And the feeling was like 1, 2, 1, 2, and then they were idling, and then suddenly both ships began to sink, and the sea was still bobbing, and the ships were sinking and making bubbles, and then they sank until they were both gone. So I don't know what country will own this ship. I don't know if it's not a country, but corporations that will own the ship. But all I know is that working ships are going to sink in the Gulf of Mexico. And that is not all. There are going to be way more accidents at sea that result in high death tolls than there have ever been before. I'm talking about the whole vessel gone and every soul on it dead. The whole vessel sunk and absolutely no survivors. This is going to include cruise ships, and this is going to include the entire crews of fishing vessels, not smaller fishing vessels that stay in calmer waters, like the guys who perhaps do whaling sometimes, or the guys who do shrimping sometimes, trawling. No, it's going to be those big commercial vessels that are strongly equipped with radar, sonar, and all the R's that go very far out into the sea. They're going to be completely lost at sea, and there's going to be not a single trace of the vessels found. I'm saying no matter how thoroughly rescue services scour the area for clues or debris or bodies, there will be absolutely nothing to suggest that there was once a massive cruise ship or any other type of ship in that area. And God was giving me the sense. I'm not saying that he said it, but as I was writing this part of the prophecy, the feeling of this thing called the Bermuda Triangle came up. The feeling of the Bermuda Triangle came up. And even now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm seeing a picture of this. I'm seeing the sky, and there's an airplane flying like this, and it's as if a hand unzips the sky, and the airplane goes through a loop like this. A loop that appears in the sky. What am I doing? I'm trying to make a tear. I'm not good at this. There we go. A hole. So if something like this appeared in the sky and then the airplane simply flies into it, it would fly into that tear and then it would zip back up and there would be no plane. Unzip the sky, the ship sails into the zip, and then there will be no ship. Something like that. So that thing, that zone, that place where things go missing, that thing is going to become very, very active, very, very active. But that is not the only reason why these things will disappear without a trace. He did not tell me why they will disappear without a trace, just that they are going to disappear without a trace. Excuse me, please. Ships will collide. Ships will also collide, just like the airplanes that I just made reference to. And God says it will be because the sonar and radar will start being so off balance due to interference of radio frequencies. So I guess when you're far out there to sea, you're very vulnerable. And I guess maybe modern sailors don't all have extreme training in reading the stars like the old ones. They were extremely good at reading the stars to make their journeys because they had nothing else. But now modern gadgets have absolutely eliminated the need to know where the sailing routes are, where the main currents are, because the onboarding map is so sophisticated that it will tell you everything you need to know. But I saw that terrible miscalculations started happening in the sonar and the radar of ships and other vessels. And it interfered with the radio frequencies, or interference with the radio frequencies caused the mismatch in sonar and radar. And people started getting lost. People started getting lost, like getting off course, and it resulted in collisions. It resulted in sinking. It resulted in hitting things that were in the sea and sinking. And so that happened. The Lord said, the magnetic poles of the earth are shifting such that readings of the compass, north, south, east, and west, will be off by many, many miles, and many people will die in the woods or get dangerously lost because of this. Ships will collide because of their onboard GPS systems telling them that they are on the right track, but they are far from course, so far from course that they will smash into other vessels that also did not detect them and also did not see them, because the other vessels are going to be suffering from this same interference affecting their machinery.